Friends, happy Tuesday. It's wonderful to have you here, whether you're joining us live or watching the replay. You picked a great Ask a Designer episode to watch, and not only watch, but actually hang out with us. I am coming to you today from New York, actually from the Adobe office at Times Square. And Izzy, my friend, you are home and you are rocking.
And
Look at you look fresh today. You look ready to
oh,
design.
yes, definitely feeling sweet, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know what you mean, but does our audience know? We might have to explain where we're going with this today.
Yes. So today we are bringing my client who is called SweetCheeks Kitchen, which is all about vegan and gluten-free treats that don't taste vegan and gluten-free. So we will be designing a farmer's market menu, which I can't wait to get started. But before, Phil, I think you have something to show us.
I wanted to show something. Yeah, this is very exciting. When I go and I hop over to my screen here, have a look at this newly designed Express homepage. I think depending on what country you're in, by the way, in the chat, let us know where you're joining us from. Depending on where you're looking at and logging into Express today, you might see something different, but this is hot off the presses. Literally 5 minutes before we went live, I went, wow, look at this retooled homepage. It's like I got a memo, Izzy. Look at my shirt color. It's
Yeah,
like I
you're oh,
knew.
always on
You and
brand,
me?
Phil, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But this is looking really good. So I thought I would just highlight that, friends. As you hop into Express, which we know and love, you're going to see some updated templates, designs, just this really great little user interface that looks awesome. As always, I want to just mention that for this show, which we're doing weekly now, it used to be bi-weekly. Clearly, we're doing
Yes.
something right, Izzy. Um,
Eh.
we add to this remixable template any of the useful content, designs, resources that we cover. We will add to this remixable template, which stays linked in our hyperlink in the show description. I want to say hi to Cody. I want to say hi to Abraham. And Lisa says, hi, Izzy and Phil. Hello, Lisa and Ray and Janine. We got the whole crew today. We're so happy you're here. Izzy, I'll pass it back over to you to set the stage for what we're about to jump into.
Yes. So, Lisa is actually my client. And actually, let's actually queue up the video from Lisa and Dennis explaining the problem. And then we'll hop into looking at their full brand
Perfect.
identity.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Hi, I'm Dennis,
And I'm Lisa,
and we are SweetCheeks Kitchen.
and we are a wholesale bakery. We offer vegan and gluten-free treats.
And we supply some cafes and grocery stores in the Ottawa area, with our main goal being that we are inclusive. We try to satisfy 99% of people out there. Our goal is that you can bring us to an event or a party, and regardless of everyone's dietary restrictions, they can enjoy our product. And for people who have no dietary restrictions, they still say, wow, what a fantastic dessert.
We met Izzy, I'd say, a couple years ago now,
A couple years ago.
at a market where she was there with Auto Design Club. And we kind of got to talking
And hit it off really well.
and discovered that she was a brand creator, which was perfect for us because we had just recently purchased the business and we're looking to rebrand our label.
Yeah, we wanted the brand to reflect us more than the previous owners. And we've been working with her for the last couple of years, and the results have been fantastic.
We feel like she's encapsulated us in our branding and in our business, and she's been able to really show and reflect who we are and where we kind of want to take Sweet Cheeks Kitchen.
Yes, because we also do a lot of markets as well. And that's where we're hoping you guys can help us out, because the current menu display we have right now is a handwritten, kind of like a chalk marker. And it works, but it does not really incorporate our branding. So we were hoping maybe the two of you could help us create some menu templates that we could use to get our product and our information across to our customers.
And we don't really have any experience with Adobe Express, but it's very exciting for us to try to get to learn it because we hear it's user friendly, and it'll be nice for us to be able to kind of cut and paste what we need and switch it up according to what we offer at markets, and easy for us to use at home.
So yeah, so we'd be so excited if you can help us out.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Dennis and Lisa. Menu templates. I also love that you heard that Adobe Express is user-friendly. That's the right kind of news we want circulating, and you will learn and see it in action today. We're so excited. Thank you. Thank you. Shall we get started?
We should get started. I'm actually very excited for all of you to see this wonderful branding, and we have not fully rolled it out yet. So this is very new for even me to work on, even though I've been working on it for a little while, but I'm so excited to see it in action. So here is a PDF, and Phil, if I'm going too long, please stop me because I can get very attached to whenever I'm talking branding. But here's a sweet picture of Dennis and Lisa at one of our zine launch. So not only are Lisa and Dennis and Sweet Chic very much part of the community in Ottawa, but they also help our events, which is amazing. And this is some real treats that they bring at our events. So really fun color palette here because we're talking about flavors, something fun, refreshing. It was obviously a good idea to have a lot of colors. We got a lot of fonts to be playing with. We wanted to have like a 70s vibe, like Flower Child, if you want a little hippie,
love it.
Which is fun. And then obviously for readability and for web, we had Roboto, which we won't be using today. We will stick with Newsen. I have to mention the slogan because it is so cool. Embrace the sweetness, cheeky style. And quickly, I want to talk about the logo process because we went with a mascot. And last week we did some logo generation in Adobe Express. And I was like, yeah, sometimes it's not good to like finish with it, but you can start with it. This is actually some AI generated through Firefly images that I started with some prompts and then printed it and then did some very loose sketching on top to end up to like having the logo, which you can see here, like that mascot. So I went from AI to pencil to then vectors, which was like a broken process that I challenged myself of doing.
That's not a broken process. That's a genius process, Izzy. In fact,
thank you.
If you were, just to pause on this for a second, because I think you bring up a really important point. There's no way I'm going to interrupt you, by the way. We're going to elaborate on this because this is so good. You could use those sketches that you've created as a reference image.
Yes.
And that's going to inform the AI, hey, this is a direction that I'm thinking of going. Help me finish. Yeah, help me finish this idea. I mean, that is so, so cool. I feel like we're in this exciting period where AI is experimental, but when we start to assign it value and it starts to improve your workflow and actually enrich the design process, Izzy, this is a perfect example and a perfect usage of AI to actually make your design even better. I love it.
Yes. And it did help me a lot, just so, and also finding the right words, right? Like, because whenever we talk about like the brand strategy at first, when we have those discovery calls, I mean, words will come up, and this is words that you can then use as prompts later. So for everyone who wants to try it out. So we also wanted to have to make sure that the owners, so Lisa here, Dennis and Zoe, Lisa's daughter, had like their themselves represented in their brand too. So we have like those cute faces here that you can see that we have integrated also with the logo, because Lisa is Vietnamese and Dennis is Danish. So they want to bring also their own like personal flavors to the line that they are working on. Here is a pattern, another cool pattern, and just some mock-ups. Oops, sorry, I went back very quickly here.
Beautiful. You're so talented.
See, that's them. Look at them. They love each other. It's so they're so sweet. They're like the sweetest. Like literally the name fits perfectly because they're the sweetest people on earth. And yeah. And this is like all real treats from our events. So
I love it. This is going to be so fun. Thanks for setting the stage. There's just, there's so much I think in the way that you built this brand out that is useful for us to know today for context to bring this to life with menu.
Yes. So as they mentioned, they do a lot of farmers market. If I'm not crazy, I think at least every two weeks, if not more, I see them often at the Arlington 5 market, which happens once every quarter. And they just have like so much stuff. And as they said, they do everything with a chalk, which can take a lot of time. Um, and specifically when, you know, you're bringing everything in your car, that chalk can get wiped out, and then you have to redo it, and then you have to set up your tent, and it's just like, you know, it's just like extra work, and we don't want that. So
No.
Express can definitely help. So here we have started. So I've seen them using a frame where they put the logo, and I figured the menu could also go there. So right now I'm working with an art board that is 8 by 10 inches. Reason why, it's just easy to find a frame within those like size. And if you want to change it to fit another frame, bigger, smaller, easy, you can easily just resize here using the side panel and then entering your measurements here. So here we have menu. It's a fictional menu for now, but I mean, stuff that I have seen them do. But there's a lot of cupcakes, cookies, and bars. So we're just going to start and design this all together. And chat, if you have some ideas, please let us know, because this is going to be a collaborative process.
Yes, we are all ears and we need you to finish the design. That's what I love about Adobe Live is we actually have the client in the chat, but also those of you that are watching, let's get you involved. Let's be a part of this. Jordan says, "Hey, Phil, my buddy Phil." I say, "Hi, Jordan. We love you. We're so excited to see you at Adobe Max." By the way, friends in the chat, how many of you are going to be at Adobe Max in person this year in Miami? Who's going to be watching online? If you can't make it there in person, that's another great option. Let us know. Izzy and I will both be there. We're so excited.
Yes, we will be there. I can't wait to see everyone. Okay, so very like easy for now. I mean, even this is already looking pretty good.
It
Because
is.
the other thing is, because it's something that may change weekly or bi-weekly, if not bi-weekly, bi-monthly, is you want to make sure that it's easily printable at home. So having something that is black and white may be the go-to, but if you want to jazz it up, I mean, we will jazz it up. And specifically, if the menu does not change often, and let's say you say, hey, for this quarter, we will always keep the same menu, so you know exactly where you're going and it's easy for flavors and ingredients, then we will jazz up that menu. So right now I'm not using the proper font, which I will change right away.
Love that. You've got it all set up in Express. Single one click
Yes.
to apply that brand font.
And so right now, this is a font that if you want to have, it's called Newton Sen. It is a very expensive font, I won't lie. But it's beautiful. And what I like is that it goes from very narrow to a very wide font. So there's a lot of play with like the letters. Like as you can see, if I like zoom, like this is a like ultra wide and this is like more narrow, which I find like fit like really well, like what we are trying to do here. So you know what? I'm going to keep just a simple option like that. The only thing that's missing here is prices. So there's a few ways that we can do this here. Again, depending on the organization of like how you're like thinking of selling your goodies. It could be if all the cupcakes are the same price, you could just do something like $8 here. So that's cupcakes. A good cupcake would be $8. And again, these are fictional, so maybe $6. And because I'm French, Phil, I have to be careful
Yeah,
because
I know why.
Yeah, the dollar sign in French comes after the
After.
number, and in
Yep.
English it's before. So I always have to be mindful of that. There's a few punctuation stuff that let's do $7 for the bars.
I remember learning the opposite in French class growing up. I had to like relearn to put it after. It's just one of those little adjustments. Ray says, are there any photos of cupcakes, cookies, and bars?
Yes, I mean, all the photos you saw in the presentation at the beginning were all real cupcakes and bars from SweetCheeks. Right now, because we want something that is easily printable in black and white at home, I don't think it's a good idea because the food will be presented in front of them. So I find that by having a photo on the menu directly will be too much. Also, it's like, I don't know if I can say this, but I will dare to say it. But when I see a menu with photos on, to me, it's like it's cheap and it's low quality.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Mm-hmm.
agree, Phil?
Yeah. I always find that it distracts me in a
Mm-hmm.
way where I'm looking at the small photo of the food, right? Because that's all you can fit on a menu. It's going to be a very, very small photo, unless it's like a featured item, in
Yes.
which case, yes. What it does is it distracts me from focusing on the right thing. I find
Mm-hmm.
myself then comparing how my meal looks, if that's what I ordered, with how it looked in the photo, instead of just enjoying the presentation
Yeah.
of the item as a surprise in some respect, right? Or as kind of
Mm-hmm.
an exciting, I don't know, reveal in some respect. Now we're talking about kind of like menu psychology here, but it's true. It's true.
Exactly. It's like the
It kind of
experiences. Yeah.
it sets you up for failure, right? If you have a photo of the item and then you don't deliver that exact experience,
Mm-hmm.
then it doesn't set the right expectation is maybe what I would say. It's stressful for both parties. The restaurant
Mm-hmm.
has to deliver exactly what's
Mm-hmm.
been photographed. And then for the person
Mm-hmm.
who's ordered it, you want what you see. That's, because
Exactly.
it has a photo.
Exactly. So here I wanted to show you a like this is like one of my messy Illustrator files like when I was designing for Switchy. As you can see, it's like there's so
Honey, we
much
all have
else.
one of those, more than just one.
Like one, there's just
It's
one.
very relatable.
It's and here is actually some language so that I've been playing with. So I actually asked ChatGPT to do this just to have some words to play with, like sweet surprise, sweet nibble, sweet harmony, and then same with cheeky here, which I can like maybe zoom in. We had cheeky bliss, cheeky bite, candy cheeks, like sweetie pie, some words here that we can add to the full brand to talk about the cupcakes and bars. And so this is also something that I'd love for them to implement when they're
Mm.
naming their sweet nibbles, which is super fun. The reason why I'm here is because I'm definitely building this for them and not for me. So for me, I would be building it in Illustrator just because all my assets are here and it would be definitely faster. But as I'm building this for them, I'm like, hey, it would be fun to have like this little element and this little element. So I literally have my library here opened as I'm working in Express. And as you see, like I just, maybe I'll like do this. I'll like put it pink and I'm just click and dragging right out, like just in the library. As you can see here, it's SweetCheeks. And if I go back to this here, I'll just give it a quick refresh.
I
And it
love
should.
that you're demoing this because I think sometimes we do this without thinking and we take it for granted. I
Mhm.
remember wondering, well, how do I actually get an item into a library? I don't work as often as Illustrator versus Photoshop. And I remember having someone explain this to me. It's actually quite simple, but it's important to demo this once in a while, I think.
It is very simple. So right now the pink one has not like updated yet, but as I was talking about my artboard, I had previously added this little flower here, which has like updated here. But maybe if I go here and I click on my brands, maybe it will be here.
What you're
Give
seeing
it.
is a really typical and a really ideal workflow between
Mhm.
Illustrator and Express. And I think it also represents what a graphic designer, what a creative can do in these programs, and then how we set our clients up for success, right? The average person
Mhm.
that's not a creative pro might open Illustrator and go, huh, where do I even begin?
Mhm.
Whereas Express is not only an efficient place to get this done, it's also like it's a safe place for someone to log in and learn what those tools are that are available to you. Janine asked a great question. Is there a QR code on this menu so someone can step forward and browse through a website menu for ingredients as they're waiting? Janine,
Oh,
yeah, we I don't think we had planned to add that, but good thing you're here. Good thing you're a
yes.
collaborator. Janine, we appreciate you because a QR code is not only possible, but it is easy in Adobe Express. We've talked about
Mhm.
on Ask a Designer quick actions. I often call them like kind of a gateway into Express. Um, there's such a great way to learn what some of that quick functionality is in Express, whether it's converting images, converting videos, creating a QR code in like 4 simple steps. We'll add that. We'll add that on our little agenda, Janine. Thank you for that idea. I love that idea.
Yes. And you know what I would do? So to your point, Phil, to not overcrowding the menu because it gets distracting, I would not put the QR code on the menu. I would actually have a smaller frame in front
Yes.
with a very clear call to action that says browse our menu, which we can actually do next, like right after we are done with this. So I just like clicked and dragged just more assets from this crazy pattern. And I'm just kind of adding some icons. And the reason why I'm staying kind of clear from the side is also because I don't know what type of frame will be put in. Sometimes they're very thick and we can lose some details on the side. So I'm keeping everything centered. So I saw a comment, can we left align Ray? I mean, we could, but for this, I think it's okay to center it.
Yeah,
So
I think so too. And then work within that perimeter and give some flexibility on the size of the frame. Um,
exactly.
I want to also mention, because it's in the chat now, thank you, Cody Bear. Um, Lisa pasted the Instagram for Sweet Cheeks, and that's Sweet Cheeks Kitchen. And Lisa also mentioned they've got the old branding for now, but soon, very soon, they're rolling out the new branding that our friends at Adobe Live are getting a little preview of today.
Yes.
And Izzy, you did such a beautiful job on this. So if you're just catching
Thank
us
you.
now, you're a few minutes into us designing a menu. And not only just designing a menu, but creating a template. That's, I think, what I'm even more excited about
Mhm.
is um, Lisa and Dennis being empowered and confident to be able to create new assets from what you've created in terms of a brand. That's really, really exciting. And I think it's one of those things where you may have to go back to the designer, a graphic designer, if it's a more
Mhm.
elaborate project, but a brand that is cohesive like that, like this that you've created, Izzy, this should inspire Instagram posts. This could inspire signs that go up on the window that say we're closed for Labor Day.
Yes.
Iterations of the menu, holiday versions of this, all of these things are possible and easy in Adobe Express.
Mm-hmm. Which is actually what I want to get to next. So this I'm creating like the black and white, which is like an easy template to go to because again, if you don't, you can go to like here we have Staples. That is, you can send a file, they printed the day of, and then you can have
Mhm.
something in color, put it in. What would be the equivalent in the
No,
US?
Staples. Yeah,
Staple.
Staples,
Okay,
Office
okay,
Depot.
perfect. Yes, perfect. So, but if they don't, I mean, you would stick to this black and white. But here, what we can do is we can just go here and then duplicate it. And then we start to add color. So what I would really love to do today is a fall menu. So fall theme. We have a lot, like some, if we go here to the colors, we have some really nice oranges, some like shade of yellow. And I think it would be fun to add like maybe some blue for a nice accent, or some red, and like let's have fun with like a more detailed menu. What do you say, Phil? Are you on
I
board?
love the idea. And I think there's a little lesson in this. Colors, I often consider and describe as a softer element of a brand. In fact, I had a discussion with a client this morning that said, Phil, I've been using my brand for 3 years and I'm ready to make some updates as I've lived in my brand for a few years. Obviously, this is not the case for Lisa and Dennis yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I think our jobs as designers is to create a toolkit for our clients. In this case, being able to make some adjustments with the color palette we have and either create seasonality, right? Or create some kind of variation that keeps things fresh. So I use the analogy often with my clients that your brand is really a toolkit. If you ever reach a point where you want to add some colors, or let's say we're doing something seasonally, then it might be a quick ask to your designer like Izzy and say, hey, how do you envision us making our brand or staying on brand during the holidays? Like that would be something I get those questions all the time for brands that I've designed, or several years have passed and I'll use this analogy, a store, a retail store that hasn't updated
Mm-hmm.
their window display, like if it doesn't get updated, then it feels stale, even if you have new items for sale in the store. Vice versa, even if you have exactly the same items for one season, but you update the window display, it might be a few minor tweaks and adjustments, and all of a sudden things feel fresh. So just think about that in relation to your own brand. And that might be a conversation you have with your designer. It might be some options you explore independently in a platform like Adobe Express, and then you share those ideas with your designer. I feel like it's a good communication.
Absolutely. Okay, so here I am looking at my assets, and I might have to go back into Illustrator and then just add more colors, because I really want to make sure that this is a bit more like lighter, and I want to add more assets just like what we saw here. Like I want to create something that is a bit more chaotic like that, but still very organized. And to your point, Ray, I will try the left align for you. So I'm just gonna have to maybe
A
duplicate
Purvis says
this.
with the little eyes emoji, AI, we will be using some AI to generate some
Yay.
images. We're going to use a quick action to create a QR code. We'll do that after this once we're happy with how the menu is looking. And we are going to explore Adobe Firefly for image generation. Yay! Which is actually a really good
Yes.
idea, I think, for particularly a case of Lisa and Dennis. Some of these concepts are still new. Some of these menu items might still be conceptual. And so Firefly is a great way to start
Yes.
to imagine the direction that this can go.
Absolutely. Okay, so actually, Phil, while I like prepare all the assets, do you want to do that? Should we go
Sure.
back to your screen?
Sure, we can. We sure can. Hold on. I'm working on a mobile monitor here and I have lost my window. There we are. Okay. So I'm,
Putting you on the spot, sorry.
yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay, Izzy. It keeps things fresh. So why don't what I'll do for now is I'm just going to click up here, the add icon, and right here, we might do something like, I don't know, custom size, and it's set in inches. So let's maybe do a 10 by 10 inch. I'm going to add that page. It's going to create a square for us. Friends, what I would do is hop over to the newly designed homepage of Adobe Express. We showcased it at the beginning of the hour, but look at that. We got to come back to it. Look, color coordinate it with this. So whenever we want to explore quick actions, which also have a brand new menu. This is brand new to me. I'm acting like I've been
Mhm.
here before, but I haven't. But it's the same content, just kind of restyled here. I actually really love it. So it'll be default here, set to create. But and then here we've got different categories that you can explore independently. You'll see some new categories here and just some new ways of visualizing these. Well done, Adobe Express team. This looks absolutely amazing. What I often say, if you're just getting started in Adobe Express, before you hop in there and design something, I recommend quickly glancing at the quick actions menu because this has so many great things in here that might help solve immediate problems or pain points or challenges. So, functionality that you'll see in other Adobe apps and tools that you might love, like obviously, Photoshop has powered some of these. Illustrator has
Mhm.
powered some of these. Premiere Pro has powered some of these. Even Acrobat, convert PDF, combine files, organize pages. Did you know that you can do those types of things in Adobe Express? As well, some of the features powered by Adobe Firefly are here as quick actions. So generate text effects, generate template. That's a really fun one, Izzy, that we could try towards the end of the hour if
Mhm.
we have time. Um, Let's go ahead and find the QR code right up top here. Second one at the top. So remove background, collage maker. That's a fun one. When you want to create a QR code in Adobe Express, all you need to bring to the table is the hyperlink. So maybe what I'll do for now is just put one SweetCheeksKitchen.com. Is it .ca? I'm doing this by
Let's do
guessing.
.ca.
Let's do .ca. Let's say it was menu. Okay. Um, Again, I'm guessing. I'm guessing if that's the URL. Lisa, feel free to chime in if you want to share the actual URL. Um, Whatever that URL is, we would paste it here, and then we would move on to style. Okay. We've got a few different styles here. Dots. I like this one, this last option, or this one that kind of combines them together, as well as your marker border can be this rounded square or a circle. And then here, marker center. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually take this into Express. I can't remember what the exact percentage is, but you can modify a certain percentage of a QR code after you create it and it will still work. So normally what I do, if I'm wanting to like brand a QR code further, something like 20%. Don't quote me on that, please, because I might be wrong. But I'll normally maybe, for example, swap out the circles or maybe just add something that doesn't interrupt the pattern of the QR code, which obviously generates the link color. So you'll have some standard colors in here in Adobe Express. Normally people tend to stick with black, but you've got a few other options. And then, of course, you got your file formats here as a PNG, JPEG, or SVG if you want that vector scalable format. I'm going to go ahead and download it like this. What that's going to do is it's going to add to my downloads folder. I'm going to go back to our design, Izzy, and I'm going to go back to that canvas that I just created, and I will quickly upload that QR code that we just created. And I'm going to, for now, set it as the page background, and we can come back to this design if we want to further brand it. And that's how you
Perfect.
create a QR code. How did I do?
You did amazing. Thank you so much. It gave me so much time to prep all
Do
the
you see that?
assets.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
we're like a little circus here. You're like, here's the
Yeah.
baton, pass it over.
Here
Then
you
I
go.
pass it
There.
back over to you.
We're such a great team.
Yes.
So yes, so thank you for that, Phil. So yes, basically while Phil was doing all this, I was just exporting and it just becomes a little repetitive at some point. So
Hmm.
then they want you guys to see all this. But here is where we are at. And obviously, so like Ray, you're giving me a really great challenge because I'm looking at this here with the left align and I'm like, do I like this? I don't know, but I will do it for you. Um, so let's like start kind of populating with some assets here. What I like about this logo, like that how it was done, it's like cute stickers. I don't know if I should like overlay them.
Hmm.
Um, because it could be like, I think it's fun. I mean, you know when we say don't do the logos like put back in your face, but I think that in this case, maybe it works. You guys let me know.
I think it looks really good and it feels playful.
Yeah.
And you could actually kind of recreate that style It almost reminds me of like those like travel stickers on a suitcase,
Hmm.
on a vintage suitcase. I actually really love it. Or like passport stamps kind of the deal. It's really fun. By the way,
Exactly.
we have Kieran in the chat. He says, "Sweet Cheeks, love the name." We're glad you
Hey.
love it, Kieran. It is a great name.
Yes, it is a great name. And funny enough, actually, well, not funny, but like just to bring you to the history of Sweet Cheeks, they have not started this business. They acquired this business, and they knew the woman who started it from her like kitchen for, I believe, her daughter who had like bit like a lot of food intolerances, and then she would bring the cupcakes and cookies and goodies where both Dennis and Lisa were working, and they developed a relationship. So when it was
Wow.
time for her to sell the business, she said, "It's only you or I'm closing." And then
Wow.
they talked, and then they acquired the business, and now, as I said, they're supplying a lot of coffee shops in Ottawa, our events, and they have a grocery line as well, which is like so impressive, because it's only them both doing everything. So it's crazy.
That's amazing. I'm so happy you just took the time to share that story. You had told me like a little bit of that story before, but I didn't know the details about acquiring the business and the buyer, the original owner saying it's you guys or no one else. Isn't it just so interesting how we end up where we are when you sit and reflect on your own business,
Hmm.
your own clients, your own journey? It's just so interesting about these moments that arrive. Also, a food business is not for the faint of heart.
Oh
Dennis and
no.
Lisa, well done
Hmm.
for not only having this, successful acquisition, but even expanding it further or being present at events, a grocery line. These are so many great clues. They always say success leaves clues. And how fun is it for you to be able to work and build a brand that you know is set up for success?
Oh
Good
my
vibes
gosh.
all around.
Good vibes. Like, they are, like I said, they wear the name, even though they didn't pick the name, they wear it very, very well because like they fit the brand perfectly.
This is
Okay.
looking so great. So you're adding some of these sticker elements to the menu, bringing some of that chaos back, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if I wanted, like, another thing I can do, I'm like kind of right. This is a really great challenge because I would just had like kept everything in the middle and just like worked around it. But this is a I
To be
don't
fair,
know. It,
we did
like,
ask
yeah.
at the beginning of the show. We said, you guys are co-designers
Yes,
today. And
I
so we're
know.
honoring that, right? We're honoring that.
It definitely, definitely. Like I shot myself in the foot for this one, but it works. It's okay. Um, Here. So I'm adding the logo again, but in a different format. Or maybe I can add. Because there was like a mini iteration of the logo here where we remove the cheeks, but it's just kind of the eyes. So for me, the way that I'm reading it is like my eyes are bigger than my stomach, because when you do see like what they are providing, you just want to eat it all. And trust me, again, they come to our events and they supply the Ottawa Design Club, and I have like 5 cupcakes in a night. So
Yum.
it's so
I
good.
love cupcakes.
uh it's like it's yeah, decadent. And they always have like fun flavors, and the cool thing, which I must say, is we never know which flavors that they will bring. It's like a complete blind trust, where we say, here is the theme of our event, can you do something that like flavor wise that relates to the theme, and they always deliver, which is awesome.
That's so fun. That again, that's that element of like surprise. This is why we don't
Hmm.
photograph the food items on a menu. Instead, we describe it with words, and then it arrives, and there's that element of like excitement, mystery, the unknown. That's another example. That's another good example, Izzy.
And same for our audience, because they don't know either. Sometimes they ask us ahead of time, like, oh, like, do you know what's going to be provided tonight? I'm like, no, we're enjoying the surprise just as much as you are. So they feel included too in like the decision making almost, even though they're not. But it's like it's fun that we kind of get to share that surprise as a community together.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I just quickly looked up what that percentage is. Talking about QR codes a moment ago, I think I
Mm.
said 20% to be safe, you can change. According to ChatGPT, it's up to 30% of a QR code that you can modify while still maintaining its functionality. Then it goes on to explain something about error correction level. I don't know quite as much about this, but apparently there's different levels of recovery depending on how much you change. Something to look into. And maybe something to just know that might be an instance where you take your QR code created in Adobe Express, pop it over to Illustrator as an SVG, or pop it even over to Photoshop if it's like an image that you're adding to it, the PNG or the JPEG version. There you go. I just wanted to correct myself. So it's like, Jeopardy, where they come back on and they say, no, actually, we had the wrong info. I'm correcting it. It's
There
not
you go.
20%, it's up to 30% that you're able to modify for that QR code to still work.
Here you go. Just like adding some more elements. So I had the orange. So here I just want to quickly show what I have done here, because this pink is not part of the brand colors, and it's also, I did not have it in the asset. Like if I remove the color, it's like a deep orange, and there's not enough contrast for us to see. If I like for us to see like in the background. So I just went to effects right here and added a duotone effect. And I love how it just like complements everything really well, to a point where I went to add more orange assets from my Illustrator file, and like click and drag, and then added the same effect onto those elements as well to keep the same color. And I feel like we
Love
should
it. Good
add,
discovery.
it's fun. I mean, it's like, because it like a duotone will take whatever like from for that, if it's like the color that you have, and then add, I guess if we go here and I do effect, like it was here that I had that purple, but it's like depending on what you have to start with. So it's like always a surprise whenever I go here. You can also custom. I've never done this, but this does not work. Okay. I feel like we should add the slogan, like maybe here, because it is just too good not to have. So, and I had a question asking what was the bubble font in the brand. And I, sorry, I forgot who asked, but it is Freaking Wicked Regular, and I got it on Creative Market. So it's this one here, which is perfect for, again, the vibe that we're going for today.
Trying to find that
So
comment. It was Mwendwa.
there you go.
Asked about what the name of the bubbly font was.
There you go. Thank you again for having my back. The
Of
sweetness,
course.
cheeky style. So here we will come and get that font. It's a little chaotic for now. Also put that justified to the left, and I think we should go white. Or maybe should it blend more? Can I do a color pick? Yes. Maybe if I do it from, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that this worked. I did not know if that would work, because I color picked from something that had a duotone effect, and I wanted to have the same color for the slogan, and it worked, because I found that if it was white, it was too distracting. Again, coming back to what we were saying earlier. But now,
Well, you're kind of creating a hierarchy
yes.
that you want, people's attention to go to. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously on a menu, this is actually an important thing to discuss. On a menu, that it's going to be the items that people are ordering. Super important that that's legible and easy to read. Obviously, some of the other softer design elements can blend in a little bit more. And this is a really good example of that.
Maybe I like it more in yellow, so we create more balance. So that's another thing. You probably see me do this all the time when designing. We're at episode 7 now. I tend to go like close up and then go back and then close up and then go back. So this is like for me to see like, okay, do I have enough contrast? Do I have enough balance? Do I have enough rhythm in my whole composition?
That's like the screen version of you squinting. That's what I do. I squint and stare at the screen, and then I open big, and then I squint.
Pretty much.
Just to see. Great question here from a pervert that we can discuss, Izzy. What decides if you want a playful font or a professional sans or serif font? What are those
Ooh.
considerations in terms of what you decide? I would say typically when we're creating a brand, we will designate the purpose of each font. So we'll decide this font is a header, this font is a body. Sometimes I'll add additional fonts that, so for example, in my personal brand, I have a stenciled, like outlined font that I use for numbers and single words only. So worksheet written at the very top in big letters on one of my freebies or like a worksheet. That's the rare instance. Invoice, contract. Those are the types of words that I'll show in one specific style of font that is stenciled. Has to be big or it has to be a number. And that's the only instance that I use it. I don't know, Izzy, if you had any additional thoughts on this, but generally we designate a purpose for the font. And we want that font to also just kind of reinforce the mood of the brand.
Yes, definitely mood. I'd like to add like yes to everything you said, and I'd like to add that it's also who is the audience.
Yeah.
So the audience will determine, okay, like if you're trying to attract and create an experience around it, you want the audience to feel like they're having fun, that they're, this one is a very fun one because we're talking about cupcakes, which is usually eaten at a party or an event, or when you're going to a coffee shop and you're eating a cookie or a bar, it's a treat. So this is something fun that you're giving to yourself. So it's like you have to put your mindset into the mind of the audience and then say, oh, then if it is in a fun setting, I can allow myself to have a fun font. If it is in a serious setting, I would not give this for something that is corporate. It would just not work.
Maybe if it's like the theme of a party for a corporation, but that's basically it.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. That's basically it.
I'm looking at the time. It's crazy how fast everything went. So quickly, I guess I should go and design the QR code. But quickly, something that I wanted to share. So this here would be a menu. Again, like if it was brought to Business Depot or Staples, like printed in like a more professional setting. We did have a question like, can we print from Express? Yes. So here we have margins. So you can show the margin and then show bleed. And when you download, you click here and then you go to PDF standard, best for printed, sorry, here. So then you are like, that you're sending everything properly. Let's click on it. And here you can do show bleed and add crop marks and then download. And you are 100% sure that it will be set up perfectly for printing. Now, this should also, let me just remove that quickly. This menu, I would like to resize quickly for in a story, because again, in the essence of Lisa and Dennis advertising their menu when they're going to a market, I mean, mentioning it on their Instagram ahead of time to bring more people to come to them is a really good idea. And it's like, hey, we're taunting you with those sweets here. Come see us.
Yes.
So
come and make a purchase.
Exactly. So here, if we go to resize, we can go to Instagram stories, click here and then duplicate and resize. As you can see here, it is almost perfect.
Yeah.
Just have to just going to bring this. Actually, I'm going to delete it. Select everything. Just make it a little bigger. I'm going to remove the slogan. Bring this in.
Duplicate and resize. The convenience is that it keeps all of the elements on your canvas on a brand new page. Obviously, it might take some tweaking for the new size of that asset, in this case, an Instagram story, but it saves you so much time by literally duplicating what you've already got and resizing it for that purpose. So in Express, you'll see what all of the ideal sizes are for those assets. Sometimes I hop in there and I just look and see, okay, what do I need for a pin on Pinterest? 500 by 1500. What's the ideal size for an Instagram portrait, or a static image? 1080 by 1350. What about a YouTube thumbnail? 1080 by or 1920 by 1080, right? So you can always hop in there and look and see what are the ideal sizes for these things. And better yet, you can duplicate an existing design and even copy and paste between projects in Express with literal Command C on a Mac, Command V on a Mac, or the Windows version of that, copy and paste between projects. It's really, really handy. One more thing I was also going to mention, that's a newer feature. Izzy pointed out margins and bleed. You also, depending on what it is you're creating, wouldn't apply in this case, but if we wanted to get folded cards made, invitations, flyers, even a poster or business cards, even t-shirts, those are now possible in Adobe Express using the new print and deliver feature. What I also love is that you can see them mocked up. We showed that on our last show. We probably won't have time to show it today, but if you're wanting to try it on an existing design that you have, you would click that download button up top and then select print and deliver, and it'll give you the sizes of what it can print with this Zazzle integration. And it might be a case where you use duplicate and resize to take an existing design and just modify the sizing so that you can get that printed directly from Adobe Express.
I'm always amazed by what you can do in Adobe Express. Like, I mean,
Me too.
It's like, again, I'm going to say it again. I say it all the time at every show, but what I have been designing in here the same way that I've been designing in Illustrator for those specific like menu and story, and now this card to go in another frame. And I love how you can go in between all of the other software, like Illustrator, Photoshop. Like sometimes I'd be editing something in Photoshop and I need to update it into the brand kit for my clients. And I just, merge all down the layers and then put it in the library and it's there. And I don't have to go elsewhere, upload it and send it over email or something like that. Like it's so easy and it just like makes the process so much faster.
Absolutely. Something for people to check out. Some of the newer features in Express. When you click on your stuff, now you'll actually see uploads. So previously uploaded graphics for projects are now summarized there. You've got the ability to create projects that you can then share with your team, be it a brand project or let's say something for an event. Also, since we're talking about some of those additional features, Izzy, all the things you can do in Express that we haven't had time to talk about today, I would say one of them is scheduler. So being able to take this Instagram story that we just created using duplicate and resize, once we connect our social media channels like Facebook, X, Pinterest, Instagram, stories, reels, all kinds of content, you can actually schedule directly from Adobe Express once those accounts are connected. I'll make sure in an upcoming Ask a Designer show, we'll talk a little bit more about Scheduler because it's really, really powerful. We talked a little bit about it last week, actually, but I'll make sure we have that queued up in the coming weeks. This is looking great. This little cute QR code.
QR code. That's hard to say. Say that 5 times really fast.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Okay. I know we're like almost there. I'm just adding
You got about 2 minutes.
Yes. Okay. I can do
But
that.
it's called Express for a reason. I'm always amazed what you can do in the last few minutes of our shows, Izzy.
Me too. It's always a surprise to me too. Okay. Perfect. So I'm just adding some icons here just to make, so it's still branded. So the reason why I put it as a blue background is because, again, if it was on a farmer's market table where we do have we go back here, an orange menu. I want to make sure that this here pops. And having the blue background is the complementary color of orange. It's going to pop on that table, specifically if they're like kind of in front of each other. People won't miss it. And again, you're creating an experience when you're at a farmer's market, or it could be craft market, and you want to make sure that people have access to your information. This is for the website, and we're saying like the menu, it could be follow us on Instagram. It could be, we have a contest, like scan here. It could be a newsletter. There's so much use that you can use that QR code. And just by having a cute little frame with that QR code in, and again, so easy to make in Express.
So easy to make. In 1 hour, we made a QR code for our little farmer's market. We made a beautiful menu that can be remixed and duplicated. Lisa and Dennis, we hope you're feeling more prepared and excited about bringing this beautiful new brand that we've been able to preview with our audience today to life using Adobe Express. A huge thank you to the two of you for letting us play. This is our playground today with the SweetCheeks brand, and it's been so fun. Izzy, you did an amazing job. Friends, stick around. Izzy, you've got a challenge coming up, your last one, and then I
Yes.
take over for October challenges. That's coming up, I believe, in 90 minutes. But stick around. So much goodness today. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Ask a Designer. But in the meantime, stay locked in right here. There's lots of good stuff coming. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye, everyone.